Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay, Wisconsin, here to talk Packers, talk a little Micah Robinson. Here we go. Micah Parsons. We got all kinds of stuff lined up, and we got a chalk talk that I don't think I've been this excited about a chalk talk since we boat raced Micah Parsons' former team in the playoffs. This one's going to be a lot of fun today. So we're going to dive into the jersey number changes. We're going to dive into a little Tucker Kraft and how I think he's a little bit under the radar right now with us talking about Matthew Golden and some of the other targets that Jordan Love has. We'll also hear what Mina Kimes had to say about the trade, which these Cowboy fans, as somebody said earlier in the chat, it's Cope City, man. They're trying to find every way possible to pretend like they wanted this to happen, and it's hilarious. And then, of course, we'll have the Micah Parsons Chalk Talk. Before we get into all that, though, I need you guys to do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We are fans just like you. This is like hanging out at the local watering hole, having a daddy soda or whatever else you prefer to drink, and just talking ball with the boys and the gals. The gals much smarter than the guys here in the chat and on this particular show from time to time. So if that's the type of content you're looking for, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click that bell icon, more importantly, so you're notified every time we go live, as we did. I think we've done 5 live streams in the last 48 hours, something like that. So it's been a wild time as the trade all unfolded. Tim, today, man, good to have you back, first of all, buddy. And today was a wild day in college football. I don't know if you got a chance to check it out, but great game between Ohio State and Texas early on, low-scoring game. Obviously, Ohio State came out on top there. Then we had Upset City just a few minutes ago, as you can see here. My man is not having a good evening. So as Florida State Seminoles upset the number 8 Alabama Crimson Tide. Sorry if there's Bama fans in here. I just thought this screen grab was hilarious. A Florida State fan of my buddy of mine that's a Florida State fan sent that over, and I was cracking up, man. My man, there is no emotion in that face at all. So
yeah, I love it. Cold-hearted right there. You got to love it.
Yeah,
and shout out to Lee Corso too, man. You got to give him a salute for real.
It was an awesome send-off, man. And I don't know how everybody in the chat feels about Corso, but Corso was such a part of my falling in love with college football. Before I was a Packers fan, I was a huge college football fan. Then, of course, when I learned about the history of the Packers and dive into it, it just grabbed me by the soul. And now college football is kind of on the back burner. But yeah, Tim, it's just it's amazing the memories he's created. And I love his approach. I can respect his approach. You've never seen him down on a telecast. He's always bringing humor, bringing energy, bringing passion towards the game. And that's something we strive for here. If we can capture 1% of 1% of what he done throughout his career in the last 30 years on College Game Day, I think we'll be a success here, man. But, man, like you said, tip your cap to Lee Corso.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see how much he loves football, right? And that's the type of person you want to get your content from and you want to be around, right? And something we all share, right, in our own ways. But one thing you can say about Coach Corso, man, is that guy just exudes football and loves it.
He does, yeah. There's no doubt about it, man. I want to give a shout-out to Max Curley, who not only became a YouTube member, but he was actually a PTA Pro member there on the second tier. So thank you so much, Max. We'll make sure you're entered into our contest, our fun little giveaways here in the future. Appreciate you supporting the show, pal. And I see the chat is on fire. Thank y'all for hanging out this evening. I know we got all the regulars in here, I'm sure, to get out of control, and that's the way we like it. So let's dive into let's dive into it, Tim. Let's start off with these jersey number changes as everybody's kind of settling into their new digs here. And man, this is going to be a blast to see this young class. It's almost like we had an extra draft just now.
Yeah.
And I know we gave up 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons, but the fact that you're getting a top 3, definitely top 5 at his position, there's no, we got to let him develop. And will he be a stud? We know Micah Parsons is a stud, so that's really, really exciting. I know the last time we spoke about it, you and I were very, very concerned that the the talking heads, the media guys who were saying give 3 firsts and Rashawn Gary, that was going to be a reality.
Right.
So glad we settled in at 2 firsts and obviously offloading Kenny Clark's contract here after the cap penalty this year. But
yeah, absolutely. You got to tip your cap to Gangster Goody, right? I mean, for pulling this off. I was the first guy that said don't auction off the farm for Micah. But at the same time, understanding that, you know, he would fall into that category of generational talent, right? Let's be real here. And you know, the biggest thing that I was on was don't give up Rashawn and a bunch of picks, and don't give up. We even heard Romeo Dobbs. We heard, you know, all kinds of players possibly involved in a trade compensation. Leave it to Brian Gutekunst, man. Just come in there and 2 firsts and Kenny Clark. If you ask me, man, who won the trade, I think the Packers probably slightly, but I think Dallas did okay too. You know, they get a guy in the middle in Kenny Clark that's a veteran that can go in there and start right away, and they got 2 first-round picks. So, you know, and we got Micah Parsons along with Rashawn and LVN and Brenton Cox Jr. and Kingsley and Igbare, you know, and the guys we have in the middle. So there's a lot to be excited about for sure.
Yeah, and I definitely lean towards Micah or the Green Bay Packers having the favor in that trade, not by as much as our fans want to lead on, but also Dallas fans, man, they went straight from there's no way we're giving him up for less than 4 first-round picks. Then you get him for 2 and Kenny, and all of a sudden it's Micah's a bum. Like, we didn't want him anyway. He's a locker room pro. All these things that you never heard before from Cowboy fans, which is hilarious. But yeah, I don't think it's as one-sided as both fan bases try to make it out to be. Most of the time, these good trades means it's good for both sides. Although I can't get on board with what Jerry's doing because it's such an important position.
Yeah.
And if you know, your goal is to field the best player, the best team possible and you want to start with the nucleus. You want to start with the players at the positions of most important. And I'm telling you, man, edge and 3-tech are at the top of the heap on defense. He had one of the best edge defenders, and he just traded him away. So now he could take those 2 firsts, albeit they should be on the back side of the first round, unless something crazy, you know, wrong happens here for the Packers this season. But you're not going to find a Micah Parsons at the bottom of the first round anytime soon, I don't think. So
no, absolutely not. That's why we got to love it, right? The advantage to being a Packer fan, right? We don't have an owner. You know, we've got a board, we've got you know, fans that are owners, and we've got a general manager. And I think throughout this process, I think you know, to guys like Ed Policy and Matt LaFleur and Jeff Hafley, who kind of supportingly played the background, as they said, during this process. And then, you know, we had Russ Ball figuring out the numbers, and you got to credit your organization for pulling this off. This is probably going to go down as one of the greatest trades in Packer history, I think, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's go through it here. The jersey number changes. It was announced today that for the first time in 99 years, the number 1 will be worn. It's going to be worn by Micah Parsons. See, when I went on my private tour of Lambeau the last time I was up there and talking with a couple of historians there in Green Bay, they said nobody ever wears number 1 because it's set aside for Curly Lambeau. Curly Lambeau wore it it was either 1 year or just a couple of years before he switched to, he's had like 4 different numbers.
Sure.
Right.
Kind of the times back then, right? Everyone just wore what the hell they had, right?
Right. So rather than try to pick which number do we retire, this and that, so what the historian told me was they took the number 1, set it aside for Lambeau, although it's not technically retired. So I think it's awesome that they allowed Micah Parsons to wear number 1. And I think, as Jen said earlier in the chat, Curly Lambeau would be damn proud to let him wear number 1. So going to be awesome to see that.
Absolutely. And Bird gets to keep 11, right? There was no issue with Jayden Reed having to come off of that number. And hey, let's be honest, we named the new city stadium after Curly Lambeau, right? You got Lambeau. Right. I think we're okay with Micah wearing number 1. I think it's awesome. Really do like it.
All right, moving along. Matthew Golden is switching from 22 to 0. I like this.
Here's a guy.
I like this. That right there, dude. Now I like 22 as well. I thought that was cool. It was unique for a receiver, but 0 suits him, I think, man. This is going to be awesome. I love what the Packers said here. Agent 0. You got to love that.
You do. You know why? You know why you picked 0?
How's that?
I've got a feeling it's how many drops he's going to have this year, guys.
I like it. I like it. So Matthew Golden will be wearing number 0. And then here's the other numbers that change. So obviously Micah Parsons, number 1. You got Matthew Golden, 0. Emmanuel Wilson is switching to 23. I like that, Tim. I liked him at 31, don't get me wrong, but 23, I immediately think of Jordan. I think of one of the greatest ever, right?
Yeah.
And no better way to help us continue to get over the fact that Jair is no longer a Packer than just watching Emmanuel Wilson slice and dice through the secondary, running the rock there, wearing number 23. What do you think about that, 23 for Emmanuel Wilson?
Yeah, I love it because, I was just as excited when, Emmanuel Wilson came into the league and rocked the 31 and made me think of Jim Taylor. It was cool to see 31 carrying the ball again. But let's be honest, this day and age, numbers are kind of all over the place, right? It's kind of the new era of football. And, maybe we'll see 31 out there in the secondary or something on the defensive side of the ball. But 23 for Emmanuel Wilson, I like it. It's time, right? It's time. I think if he wants it, let's go. We've seen, 22s, 23s, 24s, 25s carrying the football. And you see Izzy Abanikanda there right behind him, grabbing A.J. Dillon's old 28 too in the backfield. I'm cool with that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and it kind of tells you everything you need to know with with Isaiah Simmons gone now. I don't know, maybe he signed somewhere, but if he didn't, there's probably no chance of him coming back on the practice squad or anything like that. So just kind of turn the page on that. So again, those are your jersey number changes. Matthew Golden, 0, Micah Parsons, 1, Emmanuel Wilson, 23, and Izzy Abanikanda at number 28. Now, Tucker Kraft, Tim, got tagged in this tweet from Pro Football Hall of Fame ambassador earlier today over on X, and he said, Tucker Kraft, Packers tight end, in 2024, Kraft led all qualifying NFL tight ends by averaging 0.32 avoided tackles per reception. So, according to statistics, and again, we talked about YAC, we've talked about, this specific metric right here as well in terms of, avoiding tackles per reception. There's a case to be made that Tucker Kraft might be the best yards after catch tight end in the entire league. I don't think he's the most well-rounded, but that's definitely his superpower, is catching the rock and running through people's faces, and also creating separation. Whether you want to credit Matt LaFleur for that, or you want to credit Tucker Kraft for that, my man is making things happen. I thought this is a cool stat. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I love it, and I love your point about crediting Matt and Tucker equally. I think I'd go 50-50, right? Tucker's a grinder. We talk about Tuck Norris being the Swiss Army knife. What can he not do out there on the field? And then you got Matt LaFleur, who knows how to utilize him in the offense. And, for as much as he can get out there and sift block someone into the water cooler, he's also the guy that's going to, catch that in breaker and then bounce it outside, turn up field, and run through an MFR's face, like we say. And you got to love it, man. Absolutely. And you're right about the Yak King. I think, maybe few games to a quarter of the way through this season here, I think the league is really going to be on notice with Tucker Kraft. He's kind of been slept on really these last couple of years, other than here in Green Bay. We love Tuck Norris, but I think the league's going to be on notice this year for sure.
Yeah, 2-0 for this says Kraft getting the real Kraft mac and cheese sponsorships. I know he's been on that radar for a while. It's cool to see them communicating with him for sure. And let's see here. Jen Wright says Tucker is still my spirit animal. I love the way he plays the game, man. It's
absolutely kind of a throwback, right? He's almost a throwback to that old school hard-nosed tight end era. You got to love it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, moving along. So, back to the Micah Parsons trade. I want to hit on a couple of things here, because you guys know who Mina Kimes is, right? She works for ESPN. She's I guess a reporter. She's done broadcasting. She's done all kinds of stuff, right? She is one of the bright minds in covering the game of football. I love it when guys go at her on X as if they know more than her on football, and she just absolutely schools their ass. It always cracks me up. And again, I don't agree with all her takes, but I think she's darn good at what she does. So, Tim, if you'll pull that up for me, that same screen grab we just had, we're going to pop this up, and let's see what Mina Kimes had to say about the Micah Parsons trade. And the quote here from SportsCenter, this was tweeted out on SportsCenter, says, I think it will go down as one of the biggest mistakes in NFL history. Let's see what she had to say.
Great situation. I have not heard one person say this was a great idea. Way to go, everybody. So how does this move, or how will it, do you think, define Jerry Jones' post-Super Bowl legacy?
I think this will go down as one of the biggest mistakes in NFL history, and I don't think that's true. Players like Micah Parsons don't get traded. The one that we bring up as the most recent comp was Khalil Mack being moved for a few years ago to Chicago for a couple firsts, and it was a little bit different return. Frankly, they should have gotten more for Parsons because he's younger and better, in my opinion. But that trade, after Mack was moved, the Raiders went downhill, and candidly, I expect the same from Dallas. Micah Parsons is the kind of player you wait an entire generation to draft. He is a future Hall of Famer. He is one of the 2 or 3 best defensive players in all of football. The only case in which I think it would be defensible to trade a player like that is if you don't have a quarterback and you're a rebuilding team and you're going to be bad anyways. But that's not what Dallas was. Nothing about this is logical to me. I have yet to hear a coherent football defense for it. And it just seems like it was a case of hurt feelings that spiraled out of control.
That's exactly what it was, Tim, was a case of hurt feelings that spiraled out of control. Hearing Michael Irvin minutes before the trade happened say he's not going anywhere. Micah Parsons ain't going anywhere, right? He said that over and over and over. And then you find out later that the real issue was Micah did not want to negotiate without his agent, which that's par for the course. Nobody.
I was just going to say that's like standard practice, right?
Bro, it's like it's against the CBA rules for anyone to you literally have to file paperwork stating you're representing yourself if you're someone like Bobby Wagner, so they can get it approved. And that's just to make sure it's kind of a fair practice rule where, hey, look, the owners can't take advantage of the players, right? And Jerry, we know it's Jerry, right? Listen, the dude's 82 years old. I'm 42 and I'm losing my mind. I can only imagine being 82 trying to run a multi-billion-dollar organization.
Absolutely.
But that's really
think about it. Jerry got the Cowboys when he was our age, right? He was like 40 in his early to mid 40s when he hit his oil boom and got his money.
Roughly 88, I think it was 1988. So you do the math there. Yeah. Much closer to our age than he is now. That's for darn sure. So
absolutely. So it's a valid point, right? Jerry's of that old school mindset. And, there's a lot of, that attitude that I respect, right? I'm going to just call it like I see it. And, I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But at the same time, it's 2025 and we have a CBA and we have rules. So, and we see how this trade ended up, right? So couldn't be happier for Packer Nation, right?
Yeah, so Mina Kimes continues to go at it on X. So someone had responded to that. I think it was that video or maybe another tweet and said they literally can't stop the run. LOL, Mina, do some more research. Talking about the Packers, right? Yeah. Look, she hits back with the facts. Packers run defense last year, 7th in DVOA, 5th in success rate, 3rd in yards per carry. You guys know they're actually tied for 2nd. Now, she may have seen a statistic at ESPN and we were looking at something else, but whether it's 2nd or 3rd, I just love that she absolutely.
Let's put Mina back on the screen just for shouting out the facts right there.
I love that she just dunked all over this guy. Like, but this is what you deal with on social media. It really is. Like, I've gotten to the point where I don't even hardly respond. I might throw some stats out in case somebody doesn't know, hey, maybe this will help you from making an ass out of yourself next time. But she just comes back with the statistics, the facts. And people, the problem is they'll hear some media members say something as if it's fact. Like, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's been media members this week talking about, like, you get Micah Parsons. You bitched and moaned about not having an elite edge rusher all year last year, even though you finished with a great defense, 8th in sacks, 2nd in run defense, all the stuff we talked about. And then the second you get Micah Parsons, it's, well, see, told you Gary wasn't good. Like, oh my God. It's exhausting how they'll take a positive situation and immediately try to tear down someone else real quick. You know what I mean? It absolutely blows me. It's like with LaFleur. We get LaFleur. Yeah, well, we'll see how he does. We'll see how Pretty Boy does. He comes out and wins 13 games. Well, it's just Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers leaves. He goes to the playoffs 2 years in a row with Aaron Rodgers' replacement, and now it's on to something else to complain about. So anyway, I digress. I love that Mina presented the facts here, and completely agree with what she's saying. And again, guys, it doesn't mean we're going to be dominant in defense this year. Just because you got Micah Parsons doesn't mean we just got to show up now. Teams have tape on us now. Hafley has already said during training camp, our install was complete, like the second week of training camp. Our install is complete, and we're already on to our adjustment phase, meaning when teams catch on to what we're going to start the season with, we've already got the adjustment in the works, and the guys learning that, which that's what you want to hear as a fan, your defensive and offensive coordinator having a backup plan to the backup plan. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we saw that in the pressers, right, with Coach LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst talking about, and Micah himself talking about, he's got to kind of get his legs under him, get out here and run, start hitting someone again. He was very excited about putting hands on someone again. He hasn't got out there and ran. And I think, Matt touched on it in terms of deployment with Micah. It's going to take a little bit of time to get him acclimated. But we know he's a monster, right? And, he's going to fit pretty damn good into this Jeff Hafley scheme. And, how cool was it to see Coach Haff and DeMarcus Covington out there on the tarmac, welcoming Micah in to the fold here. We can feel how we want to feel. Facts don't care about that. Facts don't care about your feelings. The facts are the facts, right?
Yeah. Dan Mullen with the super chat. Thank you so much, Dan. He says it may be fair to it being an indictment on LVN. I respectfully disagree. I think it has nothing to do with LVN and his play at all. I think you had an opportunity to get an elite player who's on track to be a Hall of Fame edge rusher. I'll tell you what I think it is, Dan. I think it has nothing to do with LVN. I think they're very happy with LVN. Yep. He finished the year in the second half of the season. He was running with a 15% pressure rate, all while we were keyed in on the run, right? You seen when they told him to pin his ears back, go watch the Tennessee Titans tape. You jump up to a big lead and watch the edge rushers eat. That's where you've seen the upside of LVN. His run defense was really good. Forget what PFF says. You go and watch him on run defense, he's almost the same. It's like he's the same player as Gary when it comes to the run. Stout at the point of attack. Don't get caught rushing way upfield. Hold your gap, set the edge, and just and kind of let the offense come to you. So I don't think it's an indictment on LVN. I'll tell you what I think it is, Tim, and I broke it down in a video earlier today. If you guys didn't see it, I done a quick little salary cap breakdown for 25, 26, and 27. And what I think this is you've now got Parsons in place. So in 2 years, when it's time to move on from Gary as he approaches 30 years old, you're going to have Parsons and hopefully LVN. Now, if LVN comes out this year, he has less than a 10% pressure rate, and he doesn't flash, he doesn't hold up on his end with the run defense, you're in a position to get right out from under that contract, right? You're in a position to move on from him and find the other guy opposite of Micah Parsons moving forward as well. So that's kind of how I see it. I think it's more about that, Tim, on down the road.
For sure. And even before we even had the trade rumors, we talked about the possibility at the beginning of camp of maybe LVN kicking inside. And, now you've got Micah Parsons in the fold with Rashawn out there. In the meantime, maybe we see LVN getting some reps on the interior. You never know. But bottom line, we're a better football team, right? We said that from the beginning. Micah Parsons makes you a better defense. And I don't think it's an indictment on LVN. I would agree to disagree, just like you. But big shout out to Dan Mullen for the super chat. What would we say? That line the Titans had was ridiculous.
Yeah,
he was mad because I put this picture up.
I guess so. Yeah, and again, this is I got to say it, Dan. I got to say it, man. He says, "Come on, that line that the Titans had was ridiculous. We were not favorites in that game." Going into that game, we were the underdogs, right? And all we heard about is how they had a much more dominant defense than us, right? No one going into that game was going, oh, man, the Titans are screwed. Their offensive line sucks, until the Packers got a hold of that ass for, 8 sacks or something? And again, you get those sacks because the other team is now forced to throw the ball with Will Levis the whole second half of the game. I was there. I was in the stands. I was watching the whole thing unfold. You jump up to a 2-score lead early, and now the pass rush can pin their ears back. Name another game this year where we had a 2-score lead where we could just go after the quarterback. It didn't happen very often, right? which that's the NFL. So, yeah. And that's the other thing. This argument always pops up. Well, that team was bad. Well, it literally expanded throughout the rest of the year as we got closer to the top 10 in sacks and we finished in 8th in sacks. It went from the Titans were a bad offensive line to, well, these 3 games they played a bad offensive line. Okay, then go run numbers and get everybody who was top 5, top 10, go top 10 in sacks per team and remove the 3 best sack games they had. Okay, and tell me how they rank. Again, man, it's just I don't understand the people who that they claim they're fans and they want to try to find the negative weave in every positive that happens. There's going to be enough negative happen throughout the year that you're going to have to talk about. But
and you're not going to have to look for it. It's just going to jump right out there at you, right? It happens.
It cracks me up, man. So, there you go, Jen Wright. That's a great question. What other teams sacked them 8 times if they're so bad?
Amen. Great point.
Are we allowed to talk about that, or is that something? No. You can't mention that. That's just crazy. So, anyway, that's it. Let's one other thing, and shout out to Aaron Alice. It's at I don't even know how to say this. At HEROOINE. Heroin. Is that how you say it?
Heroin, I think. Heroin, something like that.
So as they're rounding down the top 100 players of 2025, they had Micah Parsons as a Cowboy at number 36. And she came in here and just swooped in and said, fix that 3rd graphic for you. So obviously, Micah Parsons coming in as the 36th best player on the top 100. You see Josh Jacobs at 33. Obviously, Xavier McKinney was on this list. The hated and overrated Rashawn Gary was voted number 80 by his peers. So now you literally just slam dunk the top 40 player right into your lineup for 2 firsts and Kenny Clark, which Kenny Clark was not obviously on the top 100 list. So, yeah. What do you think about that?
A year or 2 in, this Green Bay defense, I bet you Micah's up in that top 25 category when they go for the top 100 rankings of next season. I fully anticipate, despite the fact that, he hasn't been out there running around and, getting reps very much, but he's got a clean slate, fresh start here. If anyone's going to, grasp the concepts and, his responsibility, his role in this defense as they kind of ease him in, it's going to be Micah Parsons. And I think very quickly he's going to move up that list of, top players in the league for sure.
Yeah. Ben Holden says Parsons should be top 10. I can see the argument for it, Ben. I can. But last year, he played 13 games. He's a little banged up. He still played almost 700 snaps. We talked about that. It's a good comp to him and Gary in terms of snap count. I can understand if you think he should be top 10. I kind of feel like based off of the injuries he tried to fight through last year and the numbers being down a touch in that regard, I can see him being in this, between 30 and 40. I don't really have a problem with it, but I can also understand, man, you go watch his career highlights. There's sometimes you probably think that dude's top 3.
Sure.
So completely understand where you're coming from with that. Cheesehead Murph says LVM will be good like Bane in his 3rd year. That's the other thing people don't like to talk about, Murph. I'm glad you brought that up. You go look at Trey Hendrickson, the 30-year-old that a bunch of people were screaming trade for him because he led the league in sacks last year. Obviously, that's not down Goody's pipe. He's not going to trade for a 30-year-old and then give him a 3 or 4 year contract extension. Micah Parsons was right in the wheelhouse, right in the sweet spot when it comes to age and production. But Trey Hendrickson for the Bengals, he didn't break out until his 3rd year. So, as a matter of fact, someone did a great job. I want to say it might have been Jacob Morley on X way back when everybody started talking about Trey Hendrickson. But he broke it down, and LVN, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about. LVN had better production and better grades than Trey Hendrickson up to this point, if you compared their first 2 years in the league. So imagine if they would have thrown Trey Hendrickson to the wayside and not allowed him to blossom there after year 3 into year 4. So that type of stuff matters, man. It still doesn't mean LVN is going to be a great player. It's just you make an investment like that. You have him playing behind multiple edge rushers, just like we did with Bane Gary, as Murph said. People forget that. Rashawn Gary was a first-round pick, a high first-round pick, right? And he was obviously chose to sit behind Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith and kind of work his way in. And I remember everybody talking about him being a bust. I remember that. And then boom, he breaks out 19% pressure rate. Flirting with some websites had him over 20% pressure rate. He gets a contract extension, obviously, after he tears the ACL. So I'm excited though, Tim. I'm with you. It's just nice to get Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary together. It never even crossed my mind though, as we were trying to figure compensation. I said I would give up a first and a third in a player, but the players I was thinking about was like, maybe it should be a receiver. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's Wicks. Maybe they remember how Wicks spanked that butt down there in Jerry World in the playoffs.
Sure.
But, once you got to kind of looking into it and everything, I'd never even thought about Kenny. And Kenny has been someone who's underperformed the last 3 years. Team leader, great guy. If you guys want to know what kind of leader he is, go look at the social media posts from the guys. Yeah. Everybody has tagged him in a story, like just acknowledging that's that guy. That's my dude right there. And he'll be back to Green Bay to retire as a Packer, I'm sure. So
I would think so. Last of the Mohicans, right? The last Ted Thompson era pick. A leader for the better part of a decade here. Certainly going to be missed in that locker room for sure. And I didn't see that coming either, Clay. I was with you, man. I thought for sure if a deal was going to get done, it might have been a receiver. It might have been more picks, right? It might have been 2 firsts, a third, and something else based on what we were hearing. But again, hats off to Gangster Goody for getting it done. Kenny Clark and 2 firsts for arguably the best edge rusher in the league. You got to love it.
Yeah. Biz 1987 says, people say Micah doesn't show up in the postseason. Any chance that's because of the way he was used by Dallas? I think it has more to do with you're playing better teams in the postseason. Better teams have better coaches. Better coaches have better schemes. And those better schemes will key in on taking away that Tuesday player, what we're talking about, game planning on Tuesdays for a specific player. So here's the thing. Who did he have lining up opposite from him? He had DeMarcus Lawrence for a little bit, but if I remember correctly, they kicked him into a 3-tech, which helps. But he has never had anyone opposite edge at Gary's level, especially Gary at his best. And I don't know if we'll get Gary's best this year. I know we'll get his best, what do we call it here, his best effort. That's one thing you can say about Rashawn Gary. You're never going to get a version of Rashawn Gary where he's not giving it his all. So,
hey, if anything, we get the best out of both of them, right? I mean, how are you going to double team 2 guys? Good luck. Double team Micah or double team Rashawn. Good luck. Somebody's going to win, right?
Right.
And I think that's a great testament. Like, one of my knocks was, Micah's just an edge rusher. He's just a pass rusher, one-dimensional. It's like, well, maybe that was deployment in Dallas. Right. If anyone's going to unlock him, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Micah thrown back there at stackbacker on occasion in this.
It's going to happen, Tim. There's no doubt about it. And we talked about his weak spot in his game, right? Yeah. And that's definitely run defense, right? And it doesn't mean he's horrible at run defense. It simply means
it's not a strong suit. Yeah,
right. He's an elite pass rusher, right? He's an elite pass rusher, and I would say he's an above average to good, right? I think very good would be strong, but above average to good run defender. So when you put those two things together, the most important part as an edge defender is obviously getting after the quarterback. But here's what's cool. You've got Rashawn Gary opposite of him, who's just a run stuffing monster, right? So now what you can do is pair them up. And whenever you're in a run situation, when a team comes out in 12 or 21 personnel and you think, okay, they're probably going to run heavy here, what you can do is play an over front and have him as the Sam that everybody says, which essentially it's a jam front, 5-man front with him still playing edge defender and him being Micah Parsons. And you can have an extra body over there to help protect in the run game. And then you can let Gary stay isolated and do his thing with run defense on the other side. So Dan Mullen with the super chat. Thank you, Dan, buddy. That's very generous of you. Hey, man, didn't want to be negative. Indictment was too strong of a word, but he was a high pick. And I don't think it's fair to say that he hasn't lived up to the hopes of the front office. Nobody said he hasn't lived up to the hopes. That's the thing, man. Yeah. You never heard me say, you never heard me say you're not allowed to say, man, he hasn't lived up to that 13th overall pick. You've never heard me say, man, LVM, he's that dude, right? Simply saying it takes time for these guys to develop. And I think sometimes what we think is especially when you get outside of the top 10, in some cases outside of the top 5, you get a group of players. You remember us having this conversation this year, Tim, when we did our entire draft board breakdown.
Yeah.
You get, outside of like the top 10, maybe top 11 guys, and they're all clustered together. That was the big talking point by Daniel Jeremiah, Bucky Brooks, all the former NFL scouts was like, man, this, I want to say it was from like 13 to 28 or something like that. No, it was actually, it might have been in the 20s down through the 50s. It was like, these guys are kind of grouped together. So, every draft is a little different. So, yeah, again,
and every player develops differently, right?
Right.
We talk about that time and time again, right?
Yeah. And with LVN, look at what he's been asked to do, right? Like, when he was drafted, he came from playing a 3 to 4 eye tech at Iowa, which is essentially an interior defensive lineman in our front, whether it's the nickel or the base. He was asked to do that there, right? Be a point of attack guy. And then he comes into the league, and we asked him to switch up to a 34 outside linebacker.
Yeah.
And then Jeff Hafley comes in and says, all right, now you're going to play a 5 to 7 to 9 tech defensive end with your hand in the dirt. So his last 3 years playing football, whether it be college, first year under Joe Barry in the NFL, or second year under Jeff Hafley, he's been asked to do 3 different things every year. And now us fans, me included, are going, hey, I wonder how good he would be on the inside, right? We're kind of to that point now. So I just think, that plays a role as well, and that does stunt the growth. We got rid of Jason Rebrovich, right? And you bring in different, defensive line coach. Now DeMarcus Covington's in here. So I don't think it's any surprise that DeMarcus Covington's first year, after studying under Bill Belichick for all those years, now we're hearing the LVN's having his best camp. I think that's
and it's a testament to LVN too, right? Being thrown all those different ways, all those different assignments, all those different looks, all those different responsibilities, different roles so early, right away in your career, and you're still progressing pretty nicely. I mean, in my opinion, this could be a breakout year for him. And oh my goodness, if LVN breaks out, we got Micah Parsons, firing on all cylinders. We got Bane Gary out there doing what Bane Gary does best, which is, be a leader of men and a menace on the football field. This Jeff Hafley, DeMarcus Covington defensive front is going to be an absolute problem for teams in the league this year.
What's cool is you've got several players auditioning for that edge defender spot opposite Micah Parsons in 2 years. What I mean is when we had to make a decision on Rashawn Gary, if he's still playing at a great level, you keep him around, you extend him for a couple of years, whatever it is, or you move on. But you mentioned LVM. We're going to find out, is he that dude, or is that somebody you just let walk in free agency, right? Yep. You've also got Brenton Cox Jr., who had a 13% pressure rate last year, according to NFL Pro and GPS tracking. And you've got Baron Sorrell, who led every rookie edge. Think of all the edge defenders that we had coming out in the draft. I'm going to try to grab this without making too much of a mess here. So of all the edge defenders, this is a draft board. When y'all see me grab this, that's what I'm doing, looking at our draft board.
Love it.
So, out of edge defenders, I'm going to name them off here. You ready? Abdul Carter, James Pierce Jr., Shamar Stewart, Mike Green, Mikael Williams, Donovan Ezeraku, Jalen Walker, Landon Jackson, Nick Scorton, JT Tuamaloa, Ashton Gillette, Jack Sawyer, Jordan Birch, Josiah Stewart, Princely Umanamellon, Jared Ivey, Kyle Kennard, Braden Swinson was one that was big, right? Yes. Elijah Roberts. You got all these guys.
All these guys that we had ahead of Baron Sorrell, correct?
We would have loved to have any of those. Well, we end up drafting Baron Sorrell in the 4th round, and guess who led the preseason? Edge
all edge guys.
Yeah, rookie edge defense. All the rookie edges that we just named off, right? Of all of them, Baron Sorrell led everyone in quarterback hits in the preseason, and he only played in 1 game.
I put the team on my back, dude.
So anyway, it's just something to kind of keep in mind there as well. R Smith 30 with the super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I see that it's being said in the chat. I want to say it with some emphasis. Move LVN into the interior. We just kind of talked about it, right? He was asked to play interior in college, and then they moved him to 34 outside linebacker. And then we bring him back a little bit closer at, defensive end, which is essentially you playing a lot of wide 9 and 7 techs. So now we got a lot of people that think, hey, kick him back inside. Think of the void that was just left him.
Yeah.
And Clark's now gone, right? So I think there's something to be said for that, R. Smith. There's opportunity lining up there, right? Especially when you get in your subsets, your nickel sets, and let's say it's a 3rd and 12, and you want to go with the NASCAR package, you put all your pass rushers out there. LVN eating out of even the one tech would be interesting on a pass rush down, especially when you got, you're doing that double A gap mug and forcing isolation blocks, even if you are dropping some of those guys into coverage. So I don't hate the idea, R.R. Smith. I don't. Now,
neither do
Tim,
I think that's how you would see it too, right? You'd see Hafley peppering that in on occasion, kind of working him into some of those looks because we have that flexibility now. When you bring a guy like Micah in, yeah, obviously, we can talk about Kenny getting older and, not being the player he once was and all that, but that's a huge void on the interior of your D line. I don't care who you are or what you think. Him not being there and, Nas Stackhouse being a project, all the more reason to kick a guy like LV into the inside on occasion. I totally agree.
And I would not rule out personally. My count was correct. If my count was correct, Rashawn Gary had 24 snaps at defensive tackle last year. So I wouldn't rule that out. If LVN continues to pop and you kick
Bain onto the inside, woo!
Imagine Rashawn Gary next to Devontae White in our nickel 4-2-5.
Mama, there goes that man.
And what does Gary do well? He's a power rusher, right? You never see Gary get blown off the ball. Nope. You might see Gary get washed out every now and again, or you might see him not break loose at the level that people want to see, but you never see him get pushed backwards. So if you kick him inside on pass rush situations, if LVN continues to take that step, you got Micah Parsons and LVN on opposite sides, and you got Devontae White and Rashawn Gary on the middle. I'm just saying, if I had to pick between LVN and Rashawn Gary in passing situations, I want to specify that, right? Yeah. I think I would probably lean toward Gary playing on the inside because LVN's got much better speed than Gary, and he can. When we've seen him run down Justin Fields, right?
Oh yeah,
like his rookie year,
maintaining that edge and then being able to not break, contain, and still get after the ball carrier. Absolutely.
Yeah. So again, it doesn't mean that Gary on the inside is the right answer, R. Smith, or LVN's the right guy on the inside. But what it does mean is you got options. These guys are built in a way that they can handle the interior. Now, if you get to a run-heavy team, you don't want to see those guys inside, or you don't want to see LVN inside, in my opinion. That's when you want to bring Nas Stackhouse in and just put his big, beautiful butt right there in the middle of this defense. You know what I'm saying? People are going to clip that now. Clayton said Nas Stackhouse has a beautiful butt. Yeah, I said it. Thank you for the super chat, R. Smith. Appreciate you. One last stat, and we got to move on to the chalk talk. We're going to run out of time. I thought this was cool. Benjamin Solak on X said, dude, come on. All right. Now look at this image here. If you can see it, hopefully you can see it. I can't zoom in anymore.
Oh yeah, you can see how far Micah Parsons is ahead of everyone else.
Absolutely. So this stat here is pressure rate on first and second down. All right. So basically he's pointing out these aren't even pass rush downs. This is just first and second down. Since 2021, Micah Parsons leads the way at 15.3% pressure rate. Trey Hendrickson's second, a far second, at 11.8. Then Myles Garrett at 10.8. Nick Bosa at 10.4. Max Crosby at 10.4. Jadeveon Clowney, 10.2, and on and on and on. Now, why do I point this out? This can be a positive and a negative here, Tim. It really can. Yeah. And what I mean is, what I glean from this is, yes, he's been dominant at rushing the passer on first and second down, but also those are run downs. How many times did he run himself out of the play? Right. And that's something I think Hafley and Covington will really be able to harness. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean you want that number to go down. That's not what we want. But you don't want that number to stay high if you're giving up explosives in the run on Parsons' side. So I think you just got to find that. It's a boring argument or a boring comment, but you got to find that happy balance, man.
I agree. For sure.
All right, Joseph Baca with the super chat. Oliver's going to get to learn from the best linebacker / defensive end. It's a great point, man. Great point. Colin Oliver, once he's healthy, learning behind Micah, because Colin Oliver's got that build, right? We've talked about he's kind of that hybrid. Now, I think they mostly see him as a defensive end, but he's definitely that hybrid, Tim.
I agree. And, getting to see Colin Oliver up close and personal a couple of times during camp, he's definitely cut from that cloth, too. You talk about a young guy that takes direction well, wants to get better, working his way through this hamstring. Hopefully we see him in the mix at some point here in the near future, but long term, I think he's going to prove to be a great pick. And I agree. He's going to be working behind some of the best in the business, with some of the best in the business, coordinating and coaching this defense. So nothing but a high ceiling for the future, for sure.
Yeah. And Dan Mullen with the super chat, thank you, says, anyone got clips of Parsons playing in the cold? I think that is a real thing as players get older. From what I've heard, defensive players would much rather play in the cold than the heat. They don't get as gassed. And that's the other thing is, like, I know the big conversation is defenders don't want to tackle power backs when it's cold. Well, I promise you this, offensive players don't want to get hit by absolute dogs on defense in the cold either. That goes.
I would agree 100%. I would think delivering the hit in the cold is less detrimental than receiving the hit, for sure.
Yeah. And again, thank you for that super chat, Dan and Joseph. But as Chris, the casual in, points out, played college ball at Penn State. So gets cold up there. Definitely gets cold up there.
Played youth football up in Pennsylvania, too, as a Packer back in his day, right?
There you go. There you go. All right, guys, that's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour two, where we're going to do Micah Parsons Chalk Talk. We're going to show you his 12.5 sacks. We'll try our best to explain it for you guys and gals, and then we'll also talk about some of the run stops as well and show you how he is not a horrible run defender either. But we'll see you on the other side. We appreciate you.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome into hour two. Tim, you ready to get into it, man? You going to see if we can get this done at a reasonable time here, right?
So let's go. Rapid fire, right? Rapid fire. Just like Micah off the edge, baby. Rapid fire. Let's go.
Exactly. So full disclaimer, guys, we're going to do a Chalk Talk here, okay? And if this is your first time tuning in to Chalk Talk, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. This is where we break down the tape. We'll show you what we're seeing on the tape. We don't just depend on, PFF grades. We don't just depend on our emotional, personal feelings after the game. We're not just crawling through the box score going, hey, this guy had a good game, that guy. We take all that stuff, throw it in the pot with the film, and come up with a realistic assessment of how a player played well or maybe played not so well. So, again, if this is your first time tuning in, make sure you click that bell icon so you're notified whenever we go live and do future Chalk Talks here. So let's dive into it, Tim. Oh, that's the other thing, too. If the stream goes down, gang, sometimes it triggers copyright. The stream goes down, it'll come right back up. However, if it does go down and you don't want to wait for it to come back up, you can also check this out on X and on Rumble. We're still live there. It won't trigger a copyright there and it won't go down. And also, I'm going to edit this segment out later so you guys can watch it in its entirety as its own episode. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's get into it, Tim. Well, first of all, let's do this real quick. Clint, the armchair quarterback, you're always too kind, buddy. Just gifted 10 Packer Fan Total Access memberships. So that's 10 lucky viewers in here this evening that are going to be entered into the giveaway for the autographed Lucas Van Ness rookie card tomorrow night. So thank you so much, Clint, for being so generous.
Clint. That's awesome, man. Clint's always looking out, right?
He was the best guy around.
Man, for real. He's always supporting the show. All right, let's get into it, Tim. First play here, man. Micah Parsons is lined up over on the right side of your screen. So for everybody on the podcast, I'm going to do my best to describe where he's lined up. What I give you here, I'm going to try to tell you, specify which side it's on, because sometimes the camera is flipped with these end zone cameras. However, in this case, think of the Madden cam, all right? The camera's behind the offense, and you got Micah Parsons lining up in what I would call a wide 9 here. So he's over the tight end, wide 9. You see the tight end is slightly flexed out here. So let's watch his first sack. As we roll the tape, you're going to brush off the chip, bounce back inside. You see the agility there, Tim. I mean, this dude is agile. I mean, he ran a 4.340.
Yeah.
The guy moves. He literally moves like a cornerback, but he's got the power of an edge rusher. And what you're seeing here with Micah Parsons is he is an absolute speed rusher. That's what he is. He can bull rush, don't get me wrong, but this is his superpower. The way he changes directions is unbelievable, man.
Yeah. I mean, you see it right here in this rep. You see him go to the outside, stick it, realize that he's got a better chance at cutting back inside, and then he just smokes the interior getting to the quarterback. You got to love it.
Absolutely dominant rep right there. That was against the Cleveland Browns. All right, Dan Mullen with the super chat. Dan, thank you so much. He says Parson/Cooper with McKinley covering blitz is a game breaker. Yeah, man. Edgerrin Cooper and Micah Parsons are very, very similar. Very similar. Yeah. Matter of fact, not to dog Parsons at all. You guys know he's one of the best in the game, but Edgerrin Cooper's already done something that Micah Parsons has never done. It was Homer on the Homer Hour the other day. Steve the Homer True, been covering the Packers for decades, long before I was born. Right? He threw out a statistic that Micah Parsons has never won Defensive Player of the Week twice in one season, I think, and Edgerrin Cooper did it in his rookie year. So just keep that in mind. Pretty cool. But yeah, you're spot on there, Dan. They are very, very similar in that regard.
I love the point too about, with X back there, you got McKinney,
Yes.
you got guys like Evan Williams who can be an absolute dog in the box when you need him to be. We got dudes like Javon Bullard out of Georgia, who's an absolute smash mouth dude in the trenches. So I think, the addition of Parsons into this scheme is going to, allow our secondary to even eat a little bit more here in conjunction for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, next rep here. So now the camera is behind the defense for everybody on the podcast, and we got him lined up. And some would probably call it a 7 tech. We'll just go ahead and say 9. Now, he does have a DB that's obviously lined up on his outside shoulder. So what they're doing is they're mugging the A gaps here, right? And then they've got basically everybody isolated here. It's a one-on-one block, one-on-one block, one-on-one block. That's how the protection's set, right? And the running back is going to have to pick this cat blitz up if they do fire him. Okay, so everybody's one-on-one here, and Micah, like I said, is lined up in what I would call a wide 9. Some would call a 7. Let's roll the tape. Again, jab outside. Look how quick he is across, and that's Jalen Hurts that he runs down like it is no problem to him. I mean, this dude, he's an animal. Again, speed rush, right? Look, notice his feet.
And off the snap, right? The bait to the outside. I mean, that left tackle has no idea what the hell to do.
So when you see Rashawn Gary rush the quarterback, he runs with high knees. You notice that? He's kind of a high knee guy. Watch how Parsons' feet stay so close to the ground. You see what I'm talking about? He's just so smooth. Look at the feet. That's unbelievable, man. And again, running Hurts down as Hurts finally just gave up and laid down. He's like, okay, this guy's got me, son of a gun.
It's true. That's the crazy thing with Micah is the athleticism, right? He looks like a receiver or a tight end or like just the complete agility, and then you've got the power and the speed, and it's just tough to match up with him. I mean, you can try and block him one-on-one all day. Good luck.
Yeah. His ankles are what gets me, man. The ankles are just so bendy. It almost looks like Barry Sanders' ankles.
Sure. Able to chop down and absolutely.
So fluid. So there you go. There's another sack by Micah Parsons. All right, moving along to the next one. Now, we're still here against the Eagles. Now let's kind of see how the defensive front is lining up. I would call this a 9. Some would call it a 7. So he's on the right. The camera is behind the defense on this particular rep. So what you got is one-on-one, 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 one-on-one. Here, and this back may try to chip on Parsons as well. We'll see what he does. All right, so let's roll the tape. Look at that. Handling the power. Right back up the middle. So you can see how if the ball was ran, he would not be in his gap. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that we're talking about with run defense that can be an issue if you just kind of play, freelancing, if you will. Now, this might have been designed the way 97 works outside. It looks like he was prepared to take the edge as this is essentially what we would call a TE stunt. With a TE stunt, the defensive tackle is going to go out. The edge is going to come back in and going to loop around. So if I were to freeze it here, when we say TE stunt, that's what we're talking about. He's going to engage and walk out, right? And then Micah is going to fill that void. So the gaps are still covered, but you can see he's so aggressive. If this isn't a 3rd and long situation, might get out of your gap integrity. But I didn't see a whole lot of that on tape, to be honest with you.
And maybe it's an attribute to his FBI, right? If he's thinking dead red, and knows they're not running, go after that quarterback, right? Absolutely.
And it's kind of hard to see it from this angle, but he actually punches the ball.
I was just going to say, is that a strip sack? It almost looks like a strip sack.
It is, definitely. You'll see the left hand. Watch his left hand just bang, pop it out. Yeah, that's something he's really
good at. Great with the ball king and Coach Ogobasi. Oh yeah, this is going to be great.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, man, you can see it on multiple sacks. It reminds you of Charles Woodson when he would tackle the ball carrier and punch as he's tackling. Micah does that a lot. A whole lot. So, yeah, this is a situation where the offense goes from having the possession of the ball to all of a sudden the other team's got it inside the 5. Or inside the 10 anyway. But pretty cool. All right, moving along. Dusty Nuts in the chat says Elvis Presley ran the jailhouse rock. You damn right he did. The King. Everybody give the King a little love in here. All right.
Thank you very much.
That's right. Next play, the camera behind the offense now, podcasters. And we've got him lined up right over a tight end. So this is what I would call, and again, when we're talking technique, 0 tech, 2 tech, 4 tech, this would be the 6. So right here would be an 8. You'd probably call that an 8-eye look is what I would call that. Okay, so he's playing kind of an 8-eye look, inside shoulder, inside half of what should have been the second tight end, although they're playing in a flex. Got pterodactyls in here tonight, man. So when you look at the front, this looks like a 4-man rush, right? You got a wide 9, then you got a 4-eye, you've got a 1 tech, and then you got, like we said, some will call it an 8-eye. Let's call it that. So you're trying to force an isolation block over here. What you're wanting to happen here, Tim, is these guys have to double team here, right? And if the tight end goes out in the route, you got this tackle isolated. They may be chipping with the tight end, they may be chipping with the running back. And you'll notice sometimes when they move Parsons around, the running back and the tight end will follow him, much like what happens with Myles Garrett. So, again, when you're looking at our defense, think of who these players would be. Carl Brooks, Devontae Wyatt, Rashawn Gary, Micah Parsons. Right, that's what
I said, double who you want. Good luck. Someone else is going to eat.
And I can't remember if any of these guys fire on a delay blitz, but let's see what happens here. False. Okay, so this is one of those. It almost looked like a false start, but you'll see Micah kind of stoke. Oh, no, all right, we're running it. Cool. Watch him just wreck the whole play.
I love it.
Yeah. So he literally just takes the outside shoulder of the tackle, pushes the running back out of the way, and again, watch the ankles. Jab step, right back out. Bang. You know,
so quick, right? Changing direction so quickly. I mean, he looks like Matthew Golden changing direction on a route. It's crazy.
Yeah. Think if you're the quarterback here, right? If you're Jaden Daniels, you think, all right, yeah, 2 guys right here, we're good. I'm just going to step up, you know?
Good luck.
And watch how quick he changes directions. Bang, bang, and he's the one making the tackle.
Yeah. And it's the hands too, right? We talk about the footwork and, you know, FBI and the speed and everything, but the hand fighting is great too.
Yep, definitely. Again, he's just so quick, man. So quick. That's his superpower. He doesn't have the power of Rashawn Gary. Boy, oh boy, he's a lot faster than Rashawn Gary, a lot faster.
Yep.
So this is a unique set here. All right, next play, still against the Commanders. So you've got him lining up in a 4-eye here, Tim, which is cool. So you got a wide 9, then Micah Parsons in a 4-eye, working from left to right, camera behind the offense. Here you got your 3 tech, and then another wide 9. All right, and this looks like a dime set to me where you've only got 1 linebacker. Okay, so again, if you were to set the protection as the offense, you're going here, right? And because you're in that 4-eye, it's going to be hard for that center to help, right? And you'll probably have a block here and here. If I was a center, I'd be telling that guard pre-snap, listen, get on his outside shoulder and I'll help you on the inside. But again, they may be running a stunt too. If this guy bleeds in, Micah scrapes off, that might be the play call as well. So let's see what they end up running here. So he just beats the outside shoulder of the that's the guard, right? Yeah, the guard. So he is way too fast for 67, the guard right here. And notice the hands, Tim. Great hands on this play, man.
Refusing to be blocked, you know.
Yeah.
You talk about the athleticism and the speed and everything, but you know, just the sheer hand fighting and the will to not be blocked. Or if you're going to put hands on me, it's not going to be for long. I'm getting around you, I'm getting over you, I'm getting through you.
Yeah. This is a 4-man rush where they had 2 dedicated to him, a guard and a center, and the guard just did a piss poor job of getting the outside shoulder. And I would put this more on the guard. Like right here, he bites on that jab step.
Yeah.
You see, he's leaning back in this direction. You see the lean.
It's like basketball, man, falling for the old crossover, right?
Yeah. And he's got to know 63 is going to help because they got this guy kicked out pretty wide opposite side. So if I was 67, if he's going to beat you, let him beat you inside because you got help with 63. Yeah. So you do got to kind of throw this a little bit on the offensive line, but still his quickness, hands, chop it down. He took 2 hands to the face, it looks like. So it should have been a penalty on the offensive line. It doesn't matter, though. He still just beats them like a drum. And again,
there aren't many tackles or interior O linemen that are going to be able to block him in a situation like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And if you notice in the secondary here, right here, Jaden Daniels has a receiver.
Sure.
The problem is he knows this guy is right on his heels. Like he That's what we're talking about, blowing the play up. Even though they had an answer to the equation, this guy, I don't know, he's looking at the hot dog vendor out here somewhere, right? He has no idea the tight end's creeping in behind him. But
Sure.
again, Jaden Daniels can't get that ball out because Micah. And remember what I said about the strip? Watch him punch at the ball here, Tim. See it?
Yep.
Every
It also
time he
goes
sacks
hand in hand with pressure pick covered sack, right? Let's say the QB tries to get it out in a hurry there because he knows that pressure's coming. That's when we get McKinney and we get Evan Williams, we get our Carrington Valentine, Kentucky's own, out there making plays. I love it.
Yeah. And again, it's just I love that he's always going after the ball. And like you said, Tim, Ball King's going to love this dude.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Absolutely. And I love that they said that, hey, we're not going to rush it. We know he's going to fit into this scheme. Let's pepper in that deployment. Let's get him well versed. And I'm willing to bet you week 1 he's going to look pretty good. And by week 2 or 3 we're really going to see a lot of Micah Parsons for sure.
Yeah. I agree. If you guys will, we got a bunch of people in here. Take a quick second, do us a big favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe. If you're new here, welcome into PTA. Thank you for hanging out with us this evening as we're breaking down Micah Parsons tape. Make sure you click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. All right, next play is against the Giants. Poor Drew Lock. I bet you I can't say that on the air. I've got so many one-liners about being nervous and I forget where I'm at sometimes. So Micah, let's see what they're showing here. They're showing a little double A gap mug. We do this a lot, Tim, right? So, and it looks like they got an extra guy in here as well. So they're trying to force isolation. You see this offensive lineman's looking back and going, Drew, I'm sorry, buddy, you're screwed. Okay, nothing we can do for you. But this is how the protection probably sets up. Here, 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 that means he's a free runner. That ain't going to work. So what's probably going to end up having to happen is here, this is wild. Here, the running back is screwed. If they're not just mugging and they're actually bringing the heat, that's how that protection's got to set up. So Micah's got the leverage, playing probably an 8 to an 8 eye look here. And let's watch him come flying in off the edge. I mean, just absolutely. The hands are unbelievable, man. He's got such good hands to go with that speed. Watch him jab step outside, use the hand smack. And poor Drew Lock never had a shot, man.
Just the ability to be on the edge like this and to end up in, the A gap or end up in the middle and just crashing and blowing up that pocket is just pure unadulterated athleticism right there. And it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if they send a chip, if they send help, he finds a way to beat them.
Yeah. And notice the right tackle doing the 2-step over here, right? Look at that. That's not good technique. But you've got to respect Micah Parsons' 4.3 speed on the outside edge, right? You've got to respect that. So he's trying to get oh, crap, caught him in the middle of a step, and it's ball game, Dan Mullen with the super chat. Thank you, Danny. Says chasing down Jaden Daniels is nuts. Go Pack. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. Jaden Daniels is a hell of a quarterback. So the fact that he got
Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts, we saw him eating up, right?
Yep.
Great point.
And I'll tell you, I'm just saying, week 2, who do we play? Jaden Daniels.
I'll be in the building, baby.
Hey, will you really? That's
yes, sir.
Thursday night football. That's what I'm talking about, Tim. So yeah, it's I agree though, Dan. That's pretty wild that he can run down Jaden Daniels like that. Appreciate the super chat, man. All right. So we've watched this one. Obviously, jab step outside, comes firing back in. I love his celebration, too. He does this a lot. It's like an animal crawl or something. Watch him crawl. Get used to seeing that at Lambeau Field, guys. I can't wait to see that for the first time in the snow, Tim. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's another thing, you got to love the energy that he brings on the field.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. All right, up next, going to be in probably about a 7-tech, I would imagine, on the right side here from the defense's perspective. So you got a guy lined up in a 1 on his side. That's huge. These guys are going to have to double him most likely. You're going to get another isolation play here. And obviously they've got the running back in a pistol set where the running back's directly behind the quarterback in a short shotgun set. So question is the running back going to chip? Is he going to help with the tackle or is he on his own? Let's roll the tape. Completely outside, running back leaks out, and he just about decapitates poor. I don't even know who that is. I'm trying to think who their quarterback is in Carolina. But, I mean, Tim, that speed, watch the hands again. Just smacking the hands away. We do it every now and again. I know y'all are great at this on Twitter. I need somebody to screen grab this for me, okay? Look, I'm going to do it right here. And what I need you to write using your stylus pen from your favorite cellular device. I need you to screenshot that. I need you to put right on the screen, okay? And tag me on Twitter so I can retweet it. All right. Give you
This
just
poor quarterback too, because he
no
has
idea.
this
No
is
idea.
being blindsided by a freight train. He has no idea what's coming.
Yeah, it looked like
He's scanning downfield, going through his progression. He thinks he's got time. He doesn't.
It looked like me throwing a fit in the grocery store for the first time before Mama Betty gave me my first ass whipping, right? That's me. I have no clue what's behind me right now. You know what I mean? That's exactly what's going on there. So, yeah, and I love the tackle too. Again, when he arrives pissed off, and I absolutely love it, man.
He does, but there's a certain degree of control too. You don't see him reckless attacking, the QB. Obviously, it's 2025 NFL. Don't breathe on the quarterback too hard. You might get a flag. So it's cool to see a guy, winning with this athleticism and then getting to the quarterback aggressively, but under control and not getting that flag,
That's what's wild about this rep too. He does a front flip. You notice that?
Yeah.
And the
crazy.
When we talk about his feet staying low to the ground, he's so agile and quick. When you see him initiate contact, it never looks like, oh, that was a blow. Like he seems so like when he gets there, he almost goes limp, and he just doesn't play stiff,
I love that right-handed swat right off the snap. As soon as that tackle tries to engage, get off of me. As soon as you put that hand out, I'm slapping it away, and I'm around you.
He's so fast around the edge, man.
Yep.
Watch the feet, Tim. I mean, there's no stutter at all. Look at that footwork. Just key in on the feet, guys. Don't look at anything. Just look at Micah's feet.
Yep.
That's a freak right there.
And you also notice that, like, you see the little half-ass, handoff fake there, a little play action. Good luck trying to do that against Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. They're not biting on that. Yeah,
no doubt. All right. Up next, Carolina again. So we got looks like about probably a 7-tech, I would call it. All right. And this is just a 4-man rush, looks like. Let's see if he kicks inside or just works outside. Oh, yeah, a little swim move right there.
Look at the pursuit, too. Look how deep he is on the pressure and then where he ends up at the end of the play.
Oh, yeah. That quarterback should know there's no way I'm outrunning this cat.
Yep.
Watch him all the way to the end. And what does he do, Tim? Watch him punch. Bang.
Bang. Ball's out.
Yep. Luckily, Carolina covered it.
Again, the hand fighting, getting held by the right tackle, little hold there at the end, still fights through, still gets to the quarterback.
Yep. Hand fight. Watch the swim right there.
Yep, swat and swim. Beautiful. With the footwork.
Yeah, you guys are going to have all kinds of stuff to screenshot for me tonight because we're going to need one right here, okay?
Somebody come look at this.
Somebody give me a screenshot of this on Twitter too. and right on the screen put, he lose something, question mark? What's he looking for? Why he's swimming in the turf like that? So, love it, man.
Yeah. Look at Micah Parsons like, ooh, let me go get this rookie quarterback real quick. Let me get him.
All right. Next play. Now we're against the Buccaneers. This one, I ain't going to lie, viewer discretion is advised. This is violent. What they do to Baker Mayfield on this play, Tim, and I love Baker Mayfield. He fights to the whistle, man. But you'll see
you got some dogs out here, right? Devin White, you got Baker Mayfield out there. I mean,
so you got our boy Micah in probably an 8-eye look here, right? Inside shoulder of a tight end who's flexed somewhat. So whether you want to call it an 8-eye, a 9, or a 7, what have you. But this, you're only seeing 3 defenders on the screen. There's probably another wide 9 out here somewhere, I would imagine. But watch what they do to poor Baker Mayfield. I think this is a rep. All right, next play, and we may get into the running plays soon. This might be the first running play, as a matter of fact. I can't remember. But here he is in probably a 7. Let's just call it a 7 or a wide 9. Whatever.
Hey, let's give him a shout-out for lining up on the ball here, too. Look at that right hand.
Oh,
nice work, brother.
So it's another passing play. This is just speed around the edge. Watch him continue to chase. There was Cowboy fans trying to tell me he loafs. No, he's a loafer. He takes plays off. Watch this. Bang.
Finish the play, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the deepest pressure on this play. Look at behind the quarterback, and who's making the play.
It's a little speed dip and rip right here too, man. Watch him kind of rip. Very subtle rip move, but he gets under that arm, takes the edge. watch the poor guard, Tim. He's like, oh no, he's loose. Watch out.
It looked like he wanted to give Jaden Daniels a hug there. Like, hey, I got you, man. Look out.
Watch 67, the whole rep, guys. Watch the left guard. This is hilarious. Cue up the circus music. Absolutely hilarious. So that's a hustle sack there, man. You love to see it.
It almost looked like he came in and helped make the play at the end here, too. Looks like he wraps up his own quarterback like, hey, I got you, bro. I got you.
Yeah. Unbelievable. All right. Next play. Now, here's the first Joker look, right? When you hear us say Joker, we're talking about these guys, these edge defenders that they'll line up in a 0-1 tech. They'll have him standing over the ball, right?
Yeah.
You know, we do our double A gap mug. Most people call those Jokers. To me, what I've learned from Greg Cosell, a Joker is an edge defender that you stand up over top of the center, right? We used to do it with Zadarius Smith. You've seen us do it with Gary. Remember, it was last or the year before last where Gary was acting like he was dribbling a basketball between his legs, standing up over the center.
Remember that.
So here he is playing Joker, all right, is what I've always heard it called. Let me clear this off. I apologize. And let's see what kind of rush we got here. This may be a running play, but nonetheless, he's still playing Joker. Nope. So look at that. He just literally engages and jumps to the left shoulder from the offensive perspective of the center. You cannot expect the center to block Micah Parsons. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. So you see the sack on Jaden Daniels. Watch him, Tim. Engage with the center. Bang, out. Actually, should have been a face mask on the center as well.
Yeah, grab for sure.
Look at that. Doesn't matter.
I love when you say engage. Engage means I'm going to swat and swim and get the hell past you. Like that's the gist of my engagement. It's going to take about a 1/10 of a second, and I'm gone.
Watch the center's hands, Tim. Look, jab step in. Look at the center. That's not proper technique.
No.
Love it. And again,
what about the best you can do against a guy like that, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it, man. All right, next play. Commanders again. Now I think we're to the running plays because it looks like we reset. So they're in a pony package or a double sidecar, right? 2 running backs in the backfield out of a gun set. He, from the defense's perspective, guys, is in what we would call let's count it off here. Let's go 0, 2, 4. I'd call it a 5 tech. All right. So he's in a 5 tech outside shoulder of the tackle, and they're going to motion the running back on the right side of the quarterback from the quarterback's perspective, and then they're going to hand off to the other back. And look at Micah.
Yep.
He's so freaking quick. Watch him get into the backfield. Watch him beat them to the spot. Start, stop, shoot. Right?
Who's 13 on Dallas? Is that a backer or is that a?
That's a DB. It looks like
that's a DB, right? So think about like what we talked about with Bullard.
Yep.
Or X. Or
Evan Williams.
Yep. And you see Micah in tandem with, a DB mugging down on the edge there. I love it.
Does a great job. This is good gap discipline, too. Get to your spot, beat it. Now, all right, square up, force him back into the teeth of the defense, and he still gets the tackle. So there's your first run stop on the
That's a great point, Clayton. Like, I think one thing that's not talked about enough is how he plays in traffic. He's not scared of being in the mix, Plays well through the traffic there.
And again, he plays kind of loose, so you never see him in a situation where you're like, oh, he could have got hurt there. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
I think he's going to stay healthy. There was Cowboy fans trying to say that he's injury prone. I think he's missed 4 games in 4 years. So I don't.
We'll take that. We'll take that in modern football, right?
Get that.
You're missing a game a year. We'll take it.
So here's another run stop. I'm pretty sure, unless it's a screen pass. So these are all stops, and just to clarify, a stop is when a player makes a tackle on a play that results in a negative play for the offense, meaning negative EPA. It doesn't necessarily mean it's negative yardage. It just means it's negative EPA. So this player is the reason the offense had a negative play. They were the player to make the tackle to force that negative play, if that makes sense. So here we are in a little bit of a 7 tech. So they're going to hand off, right? Look at him square up on the edge. You know how easy it'd be to just try to shoot the backfield, but he doesn't. Watch how he holds his edge, right? That's huge. And that's Saquon Barkley, I'm pretty sure, the running back.
Yeah.
So watch him.
Best running back in the National Football League? Yeah.
Look at him just square up, hold his gap, right? Trying to get it just right so we can loop it. But he holds his gap, doesn't get too aggressive. Perfect job. Forcing him back in, gets a run stop.
Great point, Clayton. We talk about the feet and the hands and the athleticism. Look at the stripe on the helmet. Look at the eyes. Yeah. Look at where his head is at on these plays, upper body. Beautiful.
Patient too. Very, very patient. Be quick, but don't get in a hurry. That's what you notice.
For sure.
All right, next play against the Eagles again. They got a little jet motion here, a little eye candy. So, trying to remember, this might be the end around. I can't remember if it is. No, this isn't the end around. But watch him off the edge here. Ball snaps. They're going to run it. This looks like this is definitely a zone look, right? I don't think we've got anybody pulling. Let's see if any offensive linemen pull. No, this is all just zone right. Okay.
I love how the sift block absolutely whiffs and misses right here.
He's so quick.
Look, he blocked his own guy.
He literally smacks 81 into his own guy. Watch Micah. Watch 81 come over for the sift block.
Whoops.
And then he makes the tackle. So again, it's run defense is not Micah Parsons' strength, but you can see, guys, he is not bad at run defense. He's not.
That's a fair point. It might not be his strength, but it damn sure isn't a weakness.
Right. Yeah. Man. He did, man. He literally watch how the Sith lowers his head like, oh, I'm gonna peel his cap.
Yeah, good luck. Whoop, little stutter step, and I'm in, and I'm making a play on the ball. I love it.
Love to see it. All right, this is really cool. So the Giants come out in an A set. They're going to motion a tight end over, right? And then Mr. All-World Malik Neighbors is going to take the end around. All right, you guys know how fast Malik Neighbors is, right? He's going to come in the opposite direction. And again, watch Micah Parsons and how patient he is on this play. Fake handoff to the running back. Look at him holding his edge. He looks cool as a cucumber, right? Look at Micah sitting there on the edge waiting. He reads it. Oh, yeah, little toss, little end around. Not today. And he's got the speed to keep up with Malik Neighbors and run him out of bounds. I mean, that is everything. That's FBI. That's patience. That's quickness.
Yep.
That's film study. That's everything. It'd be real easy to go after the running back right here and just shoot your shot. Nope. He recognizes what's going on, makes a play.
Look at and again, it's the footwork, right? It's the FBI and the footwork because – I mean, if you look at the Giants here, they ran that play perfectly, right? The timing, everything, the exchange. And then you got Malik Neighbors, who's an absolute jet stream out of the backfield.
Yeah.
But I mean, he doesn't even have to touch him. He's just in position to run him out of the play. You got to love it.
He never looks like he's full speed either. He just kind of goes. You know, that's what's
crazy, right? That's like probably 70%, 60% speed. It's nuts.
And, you know, there's a lot of defenders right here, Tim. They would attack.
Yeah.
And if you miss, he gets the edge. But now he stays patient, knows the out of bounds is an extra defender for him. So, all right, next play. Now we're against the Saints. All right, he's in a wide 9 look off the left side from the offense's perspective. All right, so it's going to be a run to his side. Watch him take on the tackle, hold the edge, and help make the tackle.
And again, look at how he arrives at confrontation. Look at the feet. Look at the hands. I'm always in position to make a play.
Yeah. This is just patient, man. This is, hey, I know my gap. I got to set the edge. It's what he does. It's not pretty. It's not beautiful. But, hey, all right, here we go. Bang.
Yep.
Line it up and do it again.
It's snaps like these that when you get into the weeds here and really look at the film that makes me want to walk back those comments I had. Like, oh, he's just a pure pass rusher. It's like, no, he's not. This guy is well engaged and versatile for sure.
And, you know, PFF would suggest he's above average run defender.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, I watched a whole lot of tape, Tim, a whole lot. And you see we have far more pass rushes than run stops, right? This is a highlight reel. I want to specify that. But I'm with you. After watching all the tape, I watched every single Micah Parsons snap from last year is what I did. You're going, are you still married? Mandy's in Kentucky right now, so that might be why she went out of town. All right. Now unfortunately, we got a family member at 6. She's seeing someone in the hospital. But so I watched every snap, and you'll see there's far fewer run defensive highlights than pass rush. So Tim, I got to defend you and go, because I said the same thing. No, he's a much, much better pass rusher than a run defender, but he's definitely not bad at run defense.
Exactly.
I'm simply saying Myles Garrett is just as good against the run as he is rushing the passer. He's someone who's on a little bit higher tier than Micah Parsons as an overall defender. But there's a case to be made that Micah Parsons is a better run. He's definitely a better speed rusher than Myles Garrett. But that's where you
we said, you got to love it, right? Like run defense is not your strong suit, but you're still above average at it.
Absolutely.
You know, like your baseline is still above average across the league.
Yeah, look at him blow this play up. You want to talk about football IQ. So they're going to run a slip screen here, guys. This is how this is going to work. So Micah's here, right? This running back is going to stutter, slip out across the formation, and they're going to get some blockers out here to run a screen pass, right? Look at Micah's eyes. Like Tim said, look at the stripe on the helmet.
Yep.
Watch him read this play. Notice how he does not get upfield. Notice how he doesn't try to loop around and get to a run gap. He reads screen at the snap of the ball. Watch the FBI. Oh, that's a screen. Let me just get on over here.
Yeah. Trust it. See it, trust it, and get over there, right?
Yep. That's
to mention, can we go back pre-snap too? Who's the first off the snap? Watch number 11.
Oh, yeah.
He's the first off the snap.
Yeah. I mean, look at he's already a half a yard in the back.
Yeah, he's already ahead of everybody.
Yeah. 66 knows, oh, crap, he sees this, right? As they go to slip out, it doesn't even matter. There's that backside pursuit.
Exactly. All 66 did is help him. He just shoved him over a little bit more.
A little extra momentum,
yeah,
a little nitrous boost there, right?
Yeah, thank you.
But again, man, FBI, we've covered it all. We talked about speed off the edge. We showed elite, absolutely elite footwork, right? We've shown how he uses his hand. We've shown the speed dip and rip. We showed the swim move. We showed him take on a point of attack. We showed him set the edge. We showed FBI on the jet sweep. Now we're showing you FBI reading the slip screen.
I feel like that's a running theme with him, right? We're either saying elite, or we're saying above average, really good, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to be a dog, man, especially with Gary on the other side, man. Oh, my God.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't wait till we
and Rashawn's no stranger to occupying a double team, right? Like they want to double up Rashawn. Go ahead. We'll just let Micah eat, right?
There you go. Yeah. And, here's the other thing. There's some fans that are worried. Is he going to be ready for week one? Guys, he's going to be out there week one. Now, does he play? Here's the big question, right? Gary only played, what was it, Tim? He played 60-some% of the snaps last year. Yep, That's the normal rotation rate for Matt LaFleur's defenses, whether it was Mike Pettin, Joe Barry, or now Jeff Hafley, right?
I would expect that week one for sure then, right?
Right. But I'm wondering, do they have plans for Micah to crack the 70 and 80% mark? I don't know. I kind of hope so, but at the same time, our edge defenders typically stay healthy. All right? Micah was banged up last year. Max Crosby, banged up last year. TJ Watt, they run these guys in the ground with 90% of the snaps. And as fans, we're going, why is Gary on the sideline? Well, we're not saying, damn, Gary's on the sideline because he's hurt,
Yeah.
So I think some of that actually matters too. So
I agree. And I think week one against the Lions, there's going to be an emphasis to get Micah out there on the field, right? But also knowing he's still the new guy and hasn't had a lot of reps in a while. But I would anticipate north of 30, 35 snaps in his debut, right? You would think they're going to want to work him in out there.
I honestly think he's going to be on par with whatever Gary is. And I could be completely wrong, guys. You guys know if you watch this show consistently, I am wrong all the time. You don't believe me? Ask my wife. All right. But I would be surprised if he doesn't have a very, very, very similar number of snaps as Rashawn Gary, because this is pretty straightforward. There's not going to be anything within Jeff Hafley's defense that he goes, that's going to take some getting used to.
Right.
It's not the case. Now the question is, has he been taking care of his body? I don't know if you guys seen the presser. That dude looked lean. He looked lean and mean. Like sometimes you look at a player in the preseason or maybe they're holding out and you're like, he looks a little heavy, right? Micah doesn't look heavy.
No, I don't think so either.
At all. So I think he's going to be good to go. They might want to put a little weight on him, to be honest with you, Tim. I don't know. Not saying that's what we should do, but Jeff Hafley might have a little bit different view, as opposed to the way the Cowboys see him.
Well, if anyone can be an athletic freak with a little bit of extra muscle and a little extra weight, it's Micah Parsons, right?
Absolutely.
You're not worried about him bulking up.
If he needs any help understanding what it is to carry a little extra weight, you can come see your boy. You know what I mean? I've been training this for 42 years. I know how to carry a little extra weight.
Meet me at the buffet, baby. It's all
right.
good.
I'm telling you, man. Mandy headed over to Kentucky earlier, and I was like, what am I going to eat? We got this little – you guys may see them nationwide. I don't know. I don't get out of my little cave here much, but got a Beef O'Brady's just down the street. Had them DoorDash in about 12 wings. I ain't ate 12 wings in so long, Tim. Bro.
Is this what you look like when you answer the door?
Yeah. That's what I look like laying on the couch trying to get ready for the podcast after I slammed those 12 wins. And I thought about having a daddy soda, but I'm like, I will be snoring on the show. There's no doubt about it. Jen Wright, been a member for 16 months. Jen, I don't tell you this enough. Thank you so much for the support. You've been here as long as anyone, and really, really appreciate you being just a constant viewer here and tuning in. I love your takes in the chat as well. You're positive, but you're inquisitive. You're also you'll ask, hey, that looks bad, or you'll just say, hey, look, I think this dude needs to improve on that. Really, really appreciate your opinion. She says, hey, Clayton, can we break down Micah in our playoff game? So you're talking about the 2023 playoff game. We could do that. It just takes a little time, Jen. Like this, obviously, I had to go through, watch the tape, find the plays that are applicable. I got to record them and then put it into an editing software tool, edit it, and then obviously mark it and everything. I could try to put that together if I have time. I don't want to promise I will, just because that's the other thing, Tim. Like tomorrow's Sunday, right? We're 1 week away from we got to start prepping for the Lions and all that. But I think it would be, Jen, I think it's a great idea. I really do. To kind of look
through the stats and look at the snap counts for him and then just see what we have. And then if you want to pull film and go from there.
Because he was, I don't want to say he was non-existent, but they did a good job neutralizing him, right? But you got to keep in mind too, we jumped up to an early lead quick, right? And guess what you do when you get to an early lead? You run the rock, right? So you strike on a couple quick hitters in the passing game, then press into the run, and that's how you neutralize somebody like a Myles Garrett or a Micah, especially a Micah Parsons, who's that speed rusher, right? So
and I think that's the formula, honestly, for success for us this year, right? Get out there early, get a couple scores on the board, put them dogs out there, and just choke the life out of that opposing offense, and play with a lead and win games early, and get it over with.
What I always say is lean on them. Yeah, lean on them, man. I love boxing. I love UFC. And when you get that, watch. It sounds weird. The guys are going to make fun of me. I don't care. When you're watching a UFC fight or you're watching a boxing fight, watch the boxer's stomach. And when you see that thing start breathing heavy, that's when you lean on them. And that's what the running game does. You ask any offensive lineman in the history of the game, would you rather run the ball or pass the ball? They go, oh, run the ball. Because when you're passing the ball, offensive linemen are getting their ass kicked. It's literally die a slow death, give him 3 seconds to get the ball out. I'm just going to get beat up here. But when you run the rock and you get that duo call, it's all right. That backer that's been running that mouth all day, I'm getting to the next level right now, and I'm going to peel his cap. So
absolutely,
Jen, I'll see if I can put that together. Thank you for the recommendation. I really appreciate the support. Randy Cleavers with the super chat. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate you, buddy. He says Parsons and Cooper are going to feast on offenses. I have no words. Like, I was thinking about it last night. I was like, Edgerrin Cooper, what he did his rookie year, and guys, he was behind the 8 ball coming out of camp. He was hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt.
Yeah,
he missed a lot of time.
Reps. Yeah. Him with a full off season. And oh, by the way, remember he put on 20 pounds of muscle. And now you got Micah Parsons. You got Gary coming off of one of his best seasons. The only question mark's in the middle. It really is, right? And you know what? Our strength last year was run defense. And at the heart of it was Kenny Clark, but he was in that one gap, basically playing a touch spy. We talked about it. We're like, oh, his foot was hurt. That's why they had him do it, right? All right, I line him up in the A gap. They know who 97 is. They'll double team block him, and he can just kind of lag back and play 2 gaps, right? He can do that. So it was kind of a hybrid between the 34 principle of 2-gap scheme and the 4-3-1 gap scheme, where you got a guy who's banged up and can't really drive up the field on a pass rush. Let's just let him occupy 2 gaps there, and that'll throw their run scheme off too. So I look in the middle, and I'm not worried about Devontae White. He's a pass rusher. Don't get me wrong. His run defense is his weak spot. But hopefully he'll improve with that with the arrival of DeMarcus Covington. And then Carl Brooks, if he's in the 1-tech. And then what are we going to do in the middle? Are we going to kick Gary inside? What have you? But going back to what you're saying, Randy, the thought of Cooper and Parsons together, they are the same player. I'm not saying Cooper is as good as Parsons. He's on the trajectory. We talked about it. And I was like, man, I know I'm going to get raked over the coals for this. But if you see it, you got to say it. I have not seen a rookie linebacker come in the league and look like that since I've watched Lawrence Taylor highlights. Fred Warner did not look like Edgerrin Cooper his rookie year. He was good, don't get me wrong, but he didn't look like that. I mean,
that's what we talk about, though, right? 1 to 2 years, 3 years into your progression. Look at Fred Warner, after year 2 going into year 3 compared to his rookie year, right?
And thank you for the super chat, Randy. Appreciate you. 2-0 for this. It's a great point. Cooper could be Parsons if they made him a pass rusher. They are very similar, Tim. Their feet, the way that Cooper moves, I completely agree with what he's saying here.
Yeah,
so
me too. That's the obvious comparison, right? The sheer athleticism of these two guys, for sure. I think Cooper might have the edge in coverage, though. Coop's probably a better cover backer.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say definitively. I could see how you would have that opinion, but the fact that I think Parsons only did it 1 year. It was either 1 or maybe 2 years, and they put him back there. But yeah, I mean, Edgerrin Cooper, he does everything well. He really does. But now I have not seen him rush the quarterback as effectively as Micah Parsons, right? But that's Micah
But we
Parsons.
might get to see it this year, right?
Bro.
Put Micah out there on the wide 9 and let Edge Coop mug that gap.
Yeah.
See what happens, right?
Imagine having both of them mugging the same gap. Imagine having Edgerrin Cooper in a 5-tech and then have Micah Parsons in a 4-eye.
Oh, wow.
Imagine them going, the offense going, okay, kick the sidecar left, tight end, motion over, double chip, keep them off my back. And then they both drop into coverage. You got 3 bodies over there doing absolutely nothing,
Yeah. And then 8 snaps later, they both blitz. You run the same look and they're both coming.
Right.
Love it.
Exciting. All right, we're at the hour 32 mark. My dogs are going to divorce me. I got to get downstairs. All right. So that's the excuse tonight. But I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Tim, you got any parting thoughts? And thank you for your time jumping in. I know you've been busy here lately, and I appreciate you carving out the time to jump on. Buddy.
No, man, it's great to be back talking ball, man. This is awesome. Again, I was a guy that was on the fence with this whole trade from the beginning, especially thinking that we were going to have to auction off the farm to get Micah Parsons here. And to see Goody pull this off like a straight up gangster in the middle of the night, just getting a premier talent here for, I mean, let's be honest. We gave up Kenny Clark, which is a pillar in the middle. We just talked about that.
Yeah.
And 2 first rounds, that's no joke either. But hey, if you're bringing Lombardi's home, who cares about the 32nd pick in the draft, right? If you're winning titles. So, and again, I wouldn't put it past Gangster Goot to snatch us up a first or second round pick here before the draft anyway, somehow, some way. So all in all, I'm happy. And our team got better. And, that week 1 shellacking of the Detroit Lions at Lambeau Field is right around the corner. Looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah. And again, man, I wouldn't put anything past Goody either. And when Tim mentioned that offline, guys, I'm like, I could see that. I could see him packaging something up, still getting back in the first round. However, I also like the idea of how I laid out the salary cap earlier, the fact that if you just stay in the second and you don't trade all that draft capital to get back in the first, that helps with the cap, the way the rookies are slotted. So that's something. Yeah. So,
we know Goody cooks in those mid to late rounds, right?
Oh my God. I mean, again, Edgerrin Cooper, 2nd round pick. Christian Watson, 2nd round pick. Jaden Reed, 2nd round pick. Evan Williams, 3rd round pick. Right? Zach Tom, 4th round pick.
Rasheed Walker, 7th round pick. Let's go.
Right. Exactly. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. I want to give a special shout out, Max Curley, for being a new member. Thank you so much. Dan Mullen, you lit it up tonight, buddy. You had all kinds of super chats. Thank you so much. R.R. Smith 30, Joseph Baca, Dan Mullen again, Clint the Armchair Quarterback, gifting 10 memberships to 10 lucky viewers here. Dan Mullen again, Jen Wright being a member for 16 months, and then our buddy Randy Cleaver coming in with the super chat. So, listen, I don't take that lightly. Thank y'all so much for the support. It helps us pay for the stuff that we need, the NASA computer, the internet service it takes. You guys remember when I used to try to do Chalk Talk and it was all choppy? Couldn't get it. Yeah. Stuff costs money. And the people that donate like this and all our members in the Patreon group and everyone in between, it helps way more than you know. And if you're not one that can afford to do a super chat or afford to be a member, whether it's Patreon or YouTube, just taking a quick second to hit that like button and sharing with your friends and jumping in here and making the show better in the chat every week, it means just as much. Please understand that. So really, really appreciate everybody. Tim, thank you for your time. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live. I may go live during the day too if I get a little something on my mind. Been doing those random and getting really good feedback there. Just quick hitters, 10, 15-minute shows covering something that I find interesting. So, but appreciate everybody. Everybody have a wonderful evening. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world and go back.
There we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.